So I wore waist beads as a child. Back then, I don't think people saw it as diabolical back then.
The first pocket money that they gave me, I went to Bodija to buy waist beads. It's called Bebedi / Jigida.
The least you can do is actually wear it for fashion.
The waist bead itself has spiritual significance, and then the elements that make up the waist bead has spiritual significance.
But what I personally believe about waist beads that doesn't have to do with kaimata and all of that. I love the way I look when I wear my waist beads.
It's bloody intimate.
The waist bead has soared in popularity over the years and morphed into a fashion accessory predominantly worn by women for different reasons.
Some people wear waist beads because they think it's a trend. Some other people wear waist beads because that's what they have grown up knowing how to do or what to do. And for some other people, it's supposed to help them track weight loss and weight gain. So if your waist bead starts biting into your skin, you know that, you put in salo, which means that your stomach is, running off with itself. So there are a variety of reasons why ladies wear waist beads today. It's fashionable, it's what they've known. They're trying to track their weight, or they're trying to tap into some chakra, some spiritual meaning, whatever.
I wore waist beads for so many reasons. Spirituality, mostly. And for waist training, actually. Because when you wear waist beads for a period of time, it can actually help to cinch your waist for those that want a smaller waist. So that was why I wore it, for spirituality, for spiritual protection, for other properties that each crystal in the waist bead has. So if I'm wearing a waist bead that is made of, let me say, tiger's eye represents abundance. So that is why I'm wearing tiger's eye waist bead. So, yeah.
Àwọn ìyá wa máa fi ń ṣoge láti ṣe akọ. Wọ́n dẹ̀ tún máa fi ń wò pé báwọn ṣe sanra sí, wọ́n máa fi ń wò bóyá wọ́n sanra sí àbí wọ́n ṣò. Nǹkan oṣù wa ní ayé àtijọ́ nígbà tí àwọn ìyá wa ṣì ń lò, òun náà máa fi mọ̀ bóyá nǹkan oṣù ń bọ̀ àbí wọ́n lóyún. Láyé ìgbà yẹn náà wọ́n máa ń kà ní o. Wọ́n máa ń kà ní. Mi mọ̀ bó ṣe máa ń rí nígbà ayé àtijọ́ yẹn, ṣùgbọ́n wọ́n máa ń kà ní nígbà tèmi gbọ́njú mọ́ ìyá tèmi tí wọ́n sì ń lò ń gbà yẹn.
Well, I don't say anything. I believe everybody has their way of life, and I might be wrong. I think it's like African culture. For me personally, from my background, the Christian background, so I don't really fancy.
To me, it's disgusting. I don't know, but just like I don't feel comfortable with all those girls. So, but there's only what is the usefulness of some of it? That's not. Russia is a fashion, but I don't buy the idea.
I love them. They embarrass me. I love them.
I like anyone as long as see. If I explain it, to be kind of deep, I explain it. But you know that feeling now when you get a napkin, and then she's riding and these are not the like.
Oluwatosin Oyegoke, aka Nora, an entrepreneur who specializes in the making of waist beads, went into the business for two reasons: to make money and to cater for the growing demand for this fashion accessory in the market.
Well, When I started, when people ask me that, I used to tell them I wanted to make money. So basically, money is like the main motivation to actually really work. But back then in 2018, late 2018, I just kind of thought that waist beads might become a trend like soon. I saw it as a trend actually back then. And then the thing is that back then, they were just, when I wanted to get waist beads, I could only see the tacky waist beads, the ones they sold on the roadside, the basic waist beads. There were no places to get like quality standard waist beads. And I said to myself, well, if a celebrity wanted waist beads, where will she go? Will she go to the market to buy those cheap tacky ones? And I was like, okay, let me just go into this. Started.
I can say that this business is the men that started it before women. It's main business, but all people are bringing their wives, their relations to join the business because the condition of the country today, there's no particular business for men or women now.
A teenager in secondary school, there were 2 princesses in my school. And they were the first persons I knew who I saw beads strung around their waist. It was that plastic one, the bulky one, that looked sort of like conish. It was popular when we were much younger. That's the one I think is called Bebedi / Jigida. And I never asked them, but in my head I was like, Princess 1, Princess 2, both of them wearing beads. It's a princess thing. And my daddy used to call me his princess. So I'm like, this doesn't add up. Where's my own waist bead?
I also remember as a child also, I wore waist beads as a child. Back then, I don't think people saw it as diabolical back then. So when I was a child, my mom got me those, the local ones basically, and then I wore them for a little bit, for a while when I was a child.
So when I got into the university, my very first pocket money, interestingly, I don't know why, but I never quite discussed it with my parents. I really don't know why now that I think about it sensibly. Anyways, the first pocket money that they gave me, I went to Bodija to buy things. And right at the entrance to Bodija, the very first, that entrance beside Wema Bank, what used to be Wema Bank at the time, there was this woman by the left-hand side selling waist beads. And I asked her how much it was. And she said it was 20 naira per string. I was like, no. But one was too long for my waist, so we had to string 3. And I say this all the time because it was one of the first deals I thought I brokered successfully. More running met at 15 naira, 23 for 15 naira. That's a deal in it. But that's what I did. And then because I and my mom were like that, so when next she came to check up on me in school, I showed her the list of things I had bought with that first pocket money. And it was right there. It was like literally the first 5 things on the list. And mom, she just saw beads, 50 naira. And she was like, what if I was this? I'm like, Daddy say I'm his princess. Look at say you have waist bead. I mean, I have waist bead. Now I have my own waist bead. So that's pretty much what happened with me getting mine.
Actually, now, for me personally, I wear it for myself. I love the way I look when I wear my waist beads. I feel like, when you're naked but you're not naked, and then you just love the way your body looks on waist beads. That's why I wear it personally. I don't even have any sexual reason why I wear waist beads. I wear it for like my own self, just to look good to myself.
As a self-taught waist bead maker, Nora started off in her living room before getting a store in the Yaba area of Lagos. In a bid to motivate other entrepreneurs like her, she shared her story on Twitter, but received backlash from tweeps who believed that she was not given the full story.
Yeah, everybody saw that post, and basically I feel a lot of people were triggered. The comment section wasn't friendly at all. But yes, I thought about the idea in 2018 around November, but I was still thinking about it. But around January 2019, I told a friend to help me design something like a graphic, and I put it out there. And since then I started. So everything about what I know about waist beads was self-taught. So it's not like I went to a school to go and learn how to make beads or anything. I started learning, teaching myself I was even hiding it from my parents because I didn't know how they would feel about it. So I started doing it on my own, and it was quite difficult. Not like the way people thought everything was easy for me. Someone even said I wasn't doing it in a mud house, so why would I say this is a story? But then everything that's just basically it. And from there, it's been consistency and hard work basically. And now there's a store. I said it's the biggest waist bead store in Lagos because I know it's the biggest waist bead store in Lagos. So
once you reach puberty, your mother would buy you waist bead. It was a symbol to show society that you were fertile, because remember, menstrual periods used to be a symbol of fertility. So coming from that history, it's easy to see how waist beads began to be seen as a symbol of sexuality, a symbol of sensuality. Also because when you stack beads on your waist, it just makes you beautiful. I don't care how many folds you think you have. Waist beads bring out the sensuality in any woman. It makes you aware of your body in a way that it's bloody intimate. So yeah. So in that line, it is a symbol of sensuality, of femininity. And because now what it has become, men no longer exactly mainstream wear waist beads. Before they used to. But now it's mostly a female thing. So it's become one of those things that are symbols of females.
for me as a seller, is for me to actually, spread this kind of waist beads to women around the world. Basically, that's like my goal. Like, you can wear something nice, you can wear something classy from Africa, because people feel like when it's from Africa, it has to be tacky, it has to look ugly and all of that. That's not the case, because they are very creative people down here, and then we put in a lot to create these designs. So for me as a seller, I just want more people to embrace waist beads and see that there's actually the least you can do is actually wear it for fashion, just to look good. You can wear it, you don't even have to hide the beads anymore. You can wear it to the beach, you can wear it anywhere and still look good, and the beads would actually look really good on you. That, to me as a seller, I just want women to embrace the culture of wearing waist beads no matter where they are around the world.
To some of the cultures and histories of waist beads weren't beads originally. They were cloth, they were leather, they were cowries, they were a lot of things. Now, cowries used to be money. So it used to be an easy way to carry money on your dress. It's not like you're holding it in a pouch or something. It's literally under your cloth. People would not know if you are wearing cowries or not. So it was a security way of carrying money about. That was minus the fact that it was also a status symbol, you understand? So men used to wear these beads in certain cultures, in certain professions, in certain status. It meant different things. But now these days, men no longer need, doesn't mean they don't want to. Men no longer need to wear those things. They no longer need to carry money about. And because, as we've explained, it has also evolved into some sort of female accessory, mainstream female accessory. So that's why it looks like men no longer mainstream wear waist beads. But do guys still wear waist beads? Some freaks do, yeah. Some do.
For Temi Owasa, their waist beads are deeply connected to their spirituality. They adorn their beads with crystals that have different spiritual connotations.
The waist bead itself has spiritual significance, and then the elements that make up the waist bead has spiritual significance. So the waist bead itself as a Yoruba person, Yoruba people believe that waist beads protect you from different forces. The priestesses used to wear it as protection from malicious water spirits. And yeah, then the elements in the waist beads can be, like I mentioned, the tiger's eye. It can be, maybe you have a waist bead that is made of the blue eye, which is not necessarily Yoruba culture, but culture, we're always sharing culture, you know. So if you wear a waist bead that is made of the blue eye, that's the evil eye. The evil eye is said to peer back at your enemies from the spiritual realm. So if you're wearing a waist bead that is made of that, you are protecting yourself. If you're wearing a waist bead that is made of rose quartz, which is the crystal, you're using it to attract love into your life. So yeah. Get the crystal beads, you have to get it from people that sell the crystals themselves. And crystals are stones. They just turn them into beads when you want them as beads. So crystals are stones, but they just put holes in them. And when they have holes in them, they come in different sizes. And yeah, I go to my suppliers, which I am not giving out. So yeah.
Dupe does not exactly subscribe to the school of thought that waist beads have a connection to the metaphysical. She, however, believes that the human mind is powerful, that it can create reality.
A thing only has as much power as you give it. There are a lot of things that human beings define to be gods, divinities, or to have some link between the human, the physical, and the metaphysical. And Daddy hates it. He absolutely hates it. Mommy hated it too. And I used to say, a thing only has as much power as you give it. Does that mean that thing doesn't have, does that mean you wouldn't see any changes or any results? Not exactly, maybe, I don't know. Because I believe in the power of the human mind. I think that the most powerful force is the human mind. It's the human... I just think human beings are just so bloody divine. And by the power of our thoughts, matter of fact, by the power of our will alone, we make a lot of things to come into being and to cease to come into being. We literally create reality. We have been creating reality for as many BC, millennia, we're in 2000 now, Abby, that we have been counting. We have been creating reality for that long. We have said this exists, this doesn't exist, this is possible, this is not possible. And that's the same thing we've done with waist beads. Some people define their, I said it before, chakras. Let's just imagine that this is a birthstone. And we say that this pebble has the power to rejuvenate my life. That's cute, but it's literally just a pebble. But the cute thing about the human will and the human mind is if you believe it enough, you by yourself will work towards it. But you're going to keep believing it was that pebble that made the magic happen. That's what I believe. I might be wrong, but that's what I believe. And that's what I see play out in spirituality. So they say that the Yorubas were one of those who, everybody says we popularized waist bead wearing in West Africa. And I'm beginning to tie a lot of things in. We believed in Oshun, we believe in Oya. If you look at the drawings of our gods and goddesses, you'll be seeing strings of beads. So I think that somehow beads played a role in how we honored or worshipped deities in those times. And I think that's what we basically imported. As the cultures and the religions moved, it became like souvenir. It became like tablik. It became like the rosary. It moved with those religions and with the perceptions of those religions. And it's also the reason why in modern day Afro-Caribbean spirituality, you see a lot of people saying, I'm using this bead to tap into my sexuality, to tap into my intentions. So you hear a lot of people saying, I'm creating this bead for intentionality. I don't have sense, so I'm like, oh, that feels like a Karl Marx. That feels that feels like an opium of the people thing happening. But that is me being simplistic. That's the truth. Because one thing that humans continue to prove time and again, civilization and civilization, is that if we think something, if we believe it enough, we are going to create a whole new world order. We've done it time and again. So if you ask me that, is it magic? No, it's not. No, it's not. You don't become anything spiritual, anything magical by wearing waist beads. But your conviction makes you that thing. So for me, you are the God, you are the deity. You only choose that paraphernalia as your object.
Hong Kong is known as Bead. They know Hong Kong as a country that makes bead. China now imitates from them. If you see the one of Hong Kong, it's very, very unique. It's even very expensive than the one of China. You understand?
There's some they call the glass beads. I rarely use those because I don't really like the quality. But there's the seed beads. They come in different sizes. I use those. There's the crystal beads, the regular crystal beads, because I think there are two kinds of crystals. There's the normal crystal beads, and then there are the ones that they actually carve and all of that. So there's those. There's the glow in the dark beads that comes in different shapes and sizes. I guess that was like a huge seller back in the day. And then there are several ornamental beads, different beads gotten from like different materials, shaped different ways, basically.
The one of crystal comes in a strand, you understand? Then you now buy rope. Some do use ordinary rope, some do use rubber rope. So some do use the one of the ordinary rope. They say those ones they use it in those days, but now it's it's not common. The one that they use rubber to do is very common now. So those ones that use rope, they say when you tie it is there. It doesn't lose, it doesn't expand. But the one of rubber, they say when you bet hot water, the hot water will melt it. But I got to tell them that unless you don't use the main original rope, that is when the hot water will melt it. So and it will cut.
Okay, for the lowest price for waist beads, as at now, which can is open to review later on. As of now, is 1,000 naira. The lowest price for waist beads, 1,000 naira. I'm giving in naira prices, so 1,000 naira the lowest price, and the highest price that we sold so far for a strand of bead is 12,000 naira. So the 12,000 naira bead, it's just like it's a seasonal kind of thing. So it comes, and then once it's sold out, it's sold out. So the limit before 12,000 is 8,000 naira.
Somehow it's profitable. Why is profitable? Is something that it moves fast. The demand, you understand, at least every day you make sales. Every day you make, even though there is no much gain, but turn up is what matters. Like there is one they do supply me. That one they do supply me 380 per dozen. I sell it 420 naira. But if someone comes to request for 100 dozen, you times 20 naira by 100, it's a big money at a stretch. That is how it is.
As much as the sellers only make beads for fashion purposes, strange requests pop in every now and then.
The strangest request I've gotten so far is someone that wanted waist bead to attract somebody that she was trying to attract. And as I said, rose quartz is known to do that. Rose quartz crystal is a crystal of love. So when you make a waist bead that is rose quartz crystal, basically, it's said to attract love into your life. So if you want to attract a particular, I don't necessarily believe in this actually, That's why I consider it to be a strange request, because I don't believe in trying to attract people. That's probably because my ego is very big. I think I'm the shit, so I don't need to be trying to attract anybody. But yes, the person specifically asked for that, and I made it for them. So yeah.
Depends. If I'm, let's say, in this Lagos, like like the place where I am, Lekki or Ikeja, those kind of places where people are already mentally or enlightened about how life is, how fashion is. I don't have any issue there. But if I'm in a place like all these kind of villages, you get me, and I actually be cautious of ways with it's very serious there. But yeah, I don't think it's that. People just wear, and my sister wear. I don't think I don't have any thing about it.
Spiritual, no. I think people are just wearing it for two reasons: for fashion, and they want me their bum bum come out. That's what I heard. They said they used to wear it because bum bum didn't come out. I don't know how true though, but I know people where they see you, they wear it, they get bum bum.
Like many other accessories, there are several misconceptions surrounding waist beads. Perhaps the most common is the impression that women who adorn themselves with it have zero chastity.
Ọ̀làjú ti dé, wọn kò dẹ̀ sí tìjú mọ́ bíi tàtijọ́ yẹn, ìgbà míì wà tó jẹ́ pé nígbà àtijọ́ yẹn, lẹ́yìn ìgbà tí wọ́n bá lò tán nígbà àtijọ́ yẹn, wọ́n á tún ró tówẹ̀ tí ò ní ṣò rárá, ṣùgbọ́n nísìnyí bí ọ̀làjú ló ṣe rí láyé ìsìn ló fi dàbí pé wọ́n máa ń ṣò ẹ̀ tí wọ́n bá yìí tì ṣò ẹ̀ wọ́n ò bìlífù pé wọ́n wọ waist bead àbí ìlẹ̀kẹ̀ ìdí.
It is worthy of note that there has been a cultural shift between the ancient and modern rules regarding waist beads. It was once believed that a man seeing a woman's waist bead is equivalent to seeing her naked.
Because that time too, I mean, we're talking about a time when you couldn't... Do you remember the Victorian era? That if a lady removes her gloves like this, the man would... So, I mean, that was the era. That was the era where waist beads were between you and your lover. So only your lover knew that you had waist beads or what type of waist beads you had on, even though everybody might know that based on your age or based on the fact that Oti Balaga, you should be wearing waist beads. But it was like a lover's privilege that they get to see your waist beads. So if a man comes and he says he saw your waist bead, that means he has gotten a lover's privilege. That means that he's either a lover or he's a lover, he has compromised you, he must pay your bride price and marry you. Sure you get. So that was that mental construct.
Business. Me personally too, I didn't like to show my waist beads. In fact, I wasn't the type to expose my beads. I already had the mindset that, oh, your waist beads shouldn't be seen by men, it shouldn't be seen by your husband and all of that. But as we evolve, we're getting educated, and then we realize that a lot of rules that were set for women back then were just so to please men. They were just, they were all they were sexist basically. And then women are beginning to embrace the fact that they don't actually need a man's validation to a man to tell them what and what not to do. You understand? So if I want to wear my beads and I want to flaunt it, yes, I want to do that. It doesn't mean I am less worthy of a woman because a man has seen my waist bead. So with time and with the changes, everybody is now realizing that, oh, these rules were set by patriarchy and all of that. So why follow these rules in this century? So I guess for me, I feel like it's a big change. Right now, if I want to flaunt my beads, I flaunt my beads. But about 4 or 5 years ago, I wouldn't do that. I would feel like, oh, nobody should see my beads. And I actually encourage more women now to flaunt their beads, because waist beads is more of femininity than it is of masculinity. It's not even of masculinity. It doesn't really have anything to do with men.
So these days, again, we've moved away from the practices of that time. We've moved away from the reasons of that time. Now it's not necessarily a lover's language. now it's not necessarily a lover's privilege. And this particular generation is rebellious in how they use the waist beads. Did I say they? In how we use the waist beads. After the coming of the Abrahamic religions, after there was a demonization of African cultures, and one of the things that got demonized, of course, was waist beads, because, like we've just said earlier, waist beads was one of the tokens, was one of the souvenirs of the old African traditions. So when they were demonizing African things that had to go, that had to make way for the mindset of evangelization and missionary, waist beads were one of those things that got demonized. It was one of those things that became, if you are wearing it, it means that you are a follower of the old religions, you are a demonic person, you are a juju person, you are diabolic. So young persons these days are looking for their roots. Young persons these days are tracing who their mothers used to be, who their grandmothers used to be, who the mothers of their mothers used to be. And that's why you realize that there is a revival of the Ifa traditions. Or people these days now say, I am an Onifa. Young persons, that's something that wouldn't have happened 20 years ago, because everybody was trying to be either Christian or Muslim, because that's what was in vogue. With that going back, that rebellious, my mother is going to say, how could I do this to her? There's that rebellion is going into the use of waist beads. It's also going into guys getting tattoos, guys wearing waist beads, guys plaiting their hair. Those were things that were seen as like that thing that you said about it was a lazy man who wore waist beads. Children in this generation are saying, I'm not lazy, I work bloody hard, but I do not get to be defined by dead people. I am craving my own identity. I am carving who I am. And some of it means that because I am conscious that I am carving a new African identity, I'm not hiding my waist beads. I'm going to flaunt it because I want the next person to see it and be like, that's a young person like me. That person is successful, or that person is hustling like me. Why can't I wear waist beads like that person? Because if we remember, like, okay, good. It was because I saw my classmates wearing waist beads that I got interested in it, yes. And then before it now morphed into what I began to define it for myself. But that's what it is. But if you keep pushing a goat to the wall, at a point, the goat is going to turn back at you and like, Cuckoo, kill me now, or ma, kill you. Somebody gas die. And that's where it has gotten to for this generation. Evangelism has demonized who they are so much. And we are beginning to see the cracks. And it's beginning to look like, make everybody sort in one evangelization, make everybody sort in one identity. Because we're beginning to realize that a lot of things that were demonized were just demonized because the whites needed to break the African spirit, not because those things were demonic. So you're seeing that response in how we are embracing those things, how we are flaunting them, even if we do that recklessly sometimes. But that's what's happening.
Another misconception is the assumption that those who wear waist beads do so with something negative in mind, like seducing men and tying men down spiritually.
Okay, so quick question. Who has ever had their heart stolen because of a waist bead? I get it if you say that somebody's, like we said, it makes a woman sensual. It accentuates. It doesn't make her sensual. She's sensual on her own. It accentuates her sensuality, her sexuality. Do waist beads have that make you want to, yeah. If you're that kind of person, if that's your thing, if that's your freak, if that's the thing that gets you, But nobody would wear waist beads. I'm sorry. I hear the people say that they just did, they did that. Okay, so let me ask you a question. If it was so jazzilicious, how do you have these same people who said they jazz somebody's waist beads? Two of them are fighting over one man. How come now? Is it that one person power and the other person power is not the same? Is it not supposed to cancel each other out? I mean, how did this jazz thing used to work? Because I don't understand. Because they say, oh, I wore the waist beads, he saw the blue eye and he gave me 100,000. He was going to give you the 100,000 anyway. I mean, there's some people that didn't do anything. and they got given 200,000. I don't believe, me personally, I don't believe that somebody wears something and somebody else sees it and then their eyes go like those cats in cartoons where their eyes just go, you. What's that?
I can't relate. First of all, I'm not attracted to men. Let's get that out of the way. So yeah, okay. So I can't relate. And the reason I can't relate is because of that peculiar experience. Maybe if I were, but if I'm attracted to men, either I wouldn't be trying to attract somebody with waist beads and anything. I would most likely be working on myself because I genuinely believe that I don't need to attract anybody. Whatever is mine will come to me. So I know it's big business for a couple of people, which is why I don't talk down on it. I don't like to talk down on anybody's source of income or spirituality because I don't understand it does not mean that it is not valid. But I personally cannot relate with it. I personally do not advise it because I like it when things come to me organically. That is, even if something is spiritual and I'm trying to manifest something spiritually, I would rather it is mine than for me to go out and seek it. Because most of the time we think that we're actually doing the work and the universe is already putting things in line for us. So I don't see the need to be trying to attract a man. Lord. I never understand that. Each chakra, which is a borrowed culture as well, borrowed form of spirituality, I think is what's this thing again? Is it Hindu? I think it's Hindu or something. But that's where the chakras are from. Those are like energy points within your body. They all have crystals that are assigned to them. So you have for the crown chakra, you have amethyst. For your throat chakra, red, orange, yellow, green, blue. Basically, those colors for your crystals. I feel like I'm saying a lot without saying anything at all. I hope I'm making sense.
Kayanmata originated from the northern part of Nigeria. It is translated literally as women's things or property, and includes herbs or potions that act as sex or love enhancers for couples. It was originally meant for married women then, to prepare would-be brides for healthy sexual life.
Some people do use and go and meet a man. That one is attached to something. There is some people, like last year, one woman came to meet me, an Hausa lady. So she now brought different type. He said this one, there is one that type, the one that in a sweet form is, if you see it, it is sweet, but it is attached. They did it for something. So that one, there is one that look like a gel in a container, transparent container. So all those ones, they have, there's one like powdered. So all of them, they have each as they work. If you want, you tell her the one you want, then she will give you. You understand? There is one you just bring. You pronounce whatever you want for it then before you now wear the hand. So that is.
I can't really see it, but according to the story, we surely believe what they say. Like people using kayamata or stuff like that. So I can say it's spiritual.
Actually, I don't even know the difference. I heard about this, but I don't know the difference between spiritual and not spiritual. But there's some girls that actually also wear it as per fashion-ish. So to those that wear it as per fashion-ish, fine. Then the whole spiritual thing, what is the essence actually? I don't understand. Is that a business? Yeah, I shall like it.
Oh, well, I haven't experienced it, so I would say it's not true. You know, it's something you've experienced that you can attest to. But for me, I don't know much about it, so I don't know if it's true or not.
However, the name has been bastardized over time and now includes highly fortified waist beads for attraction and seduction.
They are not the same. The kayamata and the waist bead, there are differences. The kayamata are natural things that we take to build up the body, to help the body and to help the female child available in the eye of this man. While the waist bead just to define the body and to give more shape to the body. That is to add shape to the body. This is when we use the beads. I don't believe that it tie down a man. I see no reason why a waist bead that I see no reason why a waist bead can tie a man down, because it is only used to attract a man. That is by it giving you shape, not that to tie a man down. How can a woman tie a man down? I don't believe it.
But I feel like well, it now send a message to guys out there to be very careful and to always be empowered spiritually, especially that spiritually, so that they should have self-control. That is just what I have to say, because actually it's actually both ways too. Some guys are also using some just be careful and and be decent.